Hello, everybody. How is everyone today? Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hi. Who's this?
Alondra.
Oh, hi, Alondra. How are you?
I'm good. Have a lot of work, but I'm good.
Yeah. That's all of us.
Yeah, last semester is hitting me hard.
Yeah. It's been an interesting week. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks, but we'll get through this. It's no biggie. Not a problem.
Yeah, this is like the third time we go through something like this. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was telling someone the other day. I've been through 3 Ebola outbreaks.
Oh dear.
I'm like, yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah, it's way more scarier than this stuff. So
Definitely.
yeah, it's fun stuff. At least we get to stress test our systems and see if they actually work, right?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Where are you out of?
What?
Where are you from?
Well, right now I am in Canona, Puerto Rico. I'm not a student
wow.
from Politécnica though. I'm from Sagrado. Kind of complicated.
Okay. Oh wow, cool.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not a computer science student either. Kind of.
Cool.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Good stuff. Heck yeah. Oh, glad you're here. Glad everyone else is here. We will wait a few minutes after 5. We have 2 more minutes until 5 to start, but we'll wait after that and see who else jumps in.
Okay. I mean, they're connected. You just have their microphones off and their camera.
Yeah. Everyone just all they have to do is mute their mic and they're good to go. Heck yeah. Rainmaker, I see you there. Thank you. Kel and Jackson, Corey, Hasu, the loser, Yadiel.
Here to learn what you actually do for a living.
Oh, right. For a living? Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I get to show off. Which there's not going to be much showing off. I promise. I wish there was going to be showing off, but no, it's going to be fun. Heck yeah. Good stuff. Is my audio level sounding good? No weird background noise?
Yeah, it sounds pretty good.
Okay, good. All right. Heck yeah. And the screen share, does it look okay?
Yeah, it looks good.
Okay, good. All right. Try to squish it down so the vertical resolution fits everyone's screen. Heck yeah. Oh, there's Kevin. What's up, Kevin?
Hey, Mark. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, Kevin. How are you doing?
Heck yeah. Oh man, Homeless is here. How you doing, buddy? He may not have heard me yet. Justin, how are you?
Well, it'd be better if I could figure out how to work the mute button.
Oh, glad you're here.
Hey, glad you're putting this on, brother. Deeply appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet, man. Yeah, you bet, man. Exactly. Boredom for everyone and just trying to help out. That'd be awesome. Should be fun. I'll try and It'll be pretty basic, but I just, people just throw out their questions. I'll see what I can do, and if I can't answer it, I'll Google it for you.
I will show you my Google skills.
Yes, exactly. I will switch to my elite Google skills, and we will both figure it out at the same time. Heck yeah. It's 5:01. I'll wait 4 more minutes for any stragglers. I'm waiting. There's Sylvian. Thank you for coming. Heck yeah. Who else? Cool. And we also have a simulcast, thanks to Rainmaker, to Fire Talks Online. And Fire Talks Online, Rainmaker and I, he did most of the work. I just kind of stood by the side and helped him out as I could. Basically a giant conferencing system that allows multicasting video, and it also has integrated chat centralization, so it doesn't matter where you come in from, Discord, Skype, whatever, everyone's on one chat. Super cool, super awesome integration, and this stream is being streamed via that right now, so it's really awesome. I don't have the Discord up on my Mac because unfortunately I have the Discord Mac bug, where if you fire up Discord and it just gray screens forever, it never works. So, no biggie, not a problem. I think Rainmaker can pass any questions. All right, 2 more minutes and we will get started. If there's anything you guys are really interested in covering or learning before I get started, just scream them out there, and maybe I'll kind of bend in that direction and try and work with you on that. Yesterday we did one on networks, and we ended up talking about hashing algorithms and defeating that, so it was pretty fun. So we can go any way you guys want, not a problem.
So this is Justin. I know one thing that I struggled with when I was first firing up and learning Kali. And these were the 2 questions I was coming up with for you was install from a Git repository and then install source.
Oh yeah, easy. Yeah, we can do that for sure. Not a problem. Not a problem. I've done that a gajillion times, so not a problem at all. Heck yeah. In fact, I will look for an example Git repo right now that we can play with. Let's see here. If you have any good example Git repos you want to play with, let me know. And we can, I know seclist would be a really good one, but there's no compilation on that. But we can probably mess around with some stuff. All right, it is 5:05, and I think we will probably have to get started here soon. The stream's actually set for 1.5 hours just in case, but we will we will probably just go ahead and get started. I'm just trying to find a good small GitHub repo that's just got a small binary in it. If anyone out there knows any decent ones, just pop it in the chat. I'm just looking for a small binary for GitHub I can pull from so people can see. Let's see. All right. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, we'll have to look at that later. No big deal. Okay, everyone, let's go ahead and get started. This is Mark, and I just wanted to do a very informal Linux, Kali Linux tutorial, real basic stuff, nothing too crazy. And I wanted to start from the ground zero because a lot of people are new and they don't know anything at all. And my focus on this isn't just to teach you paint by the numbers. My goal is to teach you how to learn and how to figure things out. I think that's way more valuable than just giving you a bunch of commands and you memorize them. And so the way I kind of teach is a little bit more principle based and a little bit more conceptual based, because when you get the concepts and the principles down, all the other stuff just falls into place. So it's a heck of a lot easier. So we're going to use VirtualBox. VirtualBox is a tool that you run on your computer to run other operating systems. Linux, Windows, you can even hack in Mac OS X. And there's a ton of other weird operating systems that aren't Linux, that aren't Windows, like Plan 9 and Chaos OS. There's all these other ones, right? So the cool thing is we can run all these boxes on one laptop right next to each other, and you can build little networks in between them. And for security people, you want an attacker virtual machine and you want a victim virtual machine. And maybe you want lots of victim virtual machines, and you put them all in the same network, and allows you to attack them and practice as you play without playing in prod. I know Kel likes it when I attack stuff in prod, it makes him feel really, really comfortable. And so it's a great place to train. It's a great place to practice, and it's a great place to if you break something, it don't matter. You delete it and start over again. And I have used VirtualBox for years. I love it, and it's probably one of the best. If I see a mic go unmute, I'll slightly pause to see if there's a question. So if I see your mic go unmute, I'll just wait for a second. Okay, cool. But if you have questions, please just scream them out. No big deal. No big deal. All right. So based on your operating system, you're going to go to virtualbox.org. And how did I find that? I just Googled for it. It's very easy. You go to downloads, and if you are running Windows, you choose Windows. If you are running OS X on a Mac, you choose OS X. If you are running Linux, you choose Linux distros. Don't get that backwards. In other words, I had a question from a person, and they said, well, I don't know which one to download. And I was like, well, what operating system are you running? He's like, well, Mac. Well, and he wants to run Linux. He thought he was going to download the Linux distribution VirtualBox. No. You're going to run the one that you run the operating system, and then you can run any operating system within that. After you download that and install it, you want to do the extension pack and install it. Later on, the software itself will keep itself up to date. It'll complain and pop up a little menu or whatever, a window, and just say yes. It'll download it and keep it up to date. These extension packs are really, really important because they're kind of like the driver pack. So it provides all sorts of little goodies that make life with your virtual machine a lot better. I promise. Highly recommended you get that into. So let's click over to Kali Linux. So the Linux that we're going to run today is Kali Linux, K-A-L-I. It used to be called Backtrack. And the way I find that is just like anything else. You type Kali into your browser, and there it is. It just fires up. So it's not that hard. Not that hard. They're going to roll you to offensivesecurity.com when you click on the download link. And this is what you want. You want to come down here and click VirtualBox Images, and you want to download the 64-bit version. Don't click on torrent unless you have a torrent thing, but just direct shot 64-bit, and it's going to download. It's like 3 gigs, depending on your network connection. It might take an hour. It might take 10 minutes. So just hang on, and you will be good. Once it downloads, you're done with these 2 tabs. You don't need them anymore unless you want to read like the documentation and whatnot. But once you get the 64-bit, you're good. Do not do the 32-bit. It's not going to do you any good. Everything's 64-bit now. If you have a Raspberry Pi, you might have to do like the ARM version, or whatever. But that's a little bit out of scope for the moment. So Kali Linux recently had a change on 2021 version, 2020.1 version. You no longer log in as root. It's now Kali, and you'll see that here in a second, but it's right there. And if you don't know the password for Kali, you ask Google, Kali default password, and you're going to get a ton of answers. The old one was root and tor, and then you're going to see that Kali's default credentials is the first link. Very easy to do. Okay. All right. So I'm going to switch to screen share to the VirtualBox, and I'm going to show you how to install it. So let's see here. New share and VirtualBox, and boom. Okay. You should see my VirtualBox running. Okay. Let me know. Whoops. Hang on. Let's go back. Okay. There you go. All right. So you see mine's already running, but that's okay. You can run as many of them as you want. You run 1,000 of them if you run out of resources. So up above here, what you can't see is the file, machine, window, and help menus that I'm clicking on right now. And what you want is import appliance. So let me. Do you guys see the import appliance menu? Did it show up on your screen? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no.
No.
No? Okay, all right. Let's see, let me see if I can change the share to that real quick. Okay, there we go, cool. Okay, all right. So it popped up with this saying, it said import appliance. All right, so you want to click the little folder, go to your downloads, and you're gonna click your Kali Linux OVA. All right, you're gonna hit continue, and look, it fills all this in for you. All of the settings and all the weird stuff that is required for the life of that machine, they've already figured out the minimum requirements. You don't have to try and Google and figure all this out. You're good. The only thing I would say is I tend to disconnect the sound card because I don't care for sound. It doesn't help me. You might want to increase the RAM if you have a lot of extra RAM. All right, you might want to do that, but it really doesn't matter. 2040 is just fine. Just fine for this. And it takes care, it's Debian guest OS, network adapter. You want that. Do not uncheck that. You'll be isolated. That'd be bad. And then you click import. You don't have to do anything else. Just click import. I'm not going to do it because it takes like 10 minutes to import on my Mac. So by the magic of the internet, I'm going to cancel that, and then I'm going to snap the share back to my VirtualBox. Okay. Share. Okay. All right. So there's my Kali Linux, and all I'm going to do is normally there would be a big green start button right here. I would just click start, and that's all there is to it. It's literally that easy. Just like if I clicked click this one, Immunes, I would just click the start button and it will fire up. So this one's already fired up. And you see all the guts here, all these configuration points. That came from the OVA that you downloaded. They figured it all out for you. You don't have to worry about it at all, okay? So I'm going to switch now the screen share to the actual Linux box itself that has booted. So when you hit start, it's going to pop up another window and you're going to see your machine booting, just like if it was a brand new desktop that you booted with Linux. So let me switch over. And share. Okay, all right. Let me know if you see that. Everything looking good so far? Yes, no, yes, no.
Looks good to hear.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. Okay, so earlier on the download web page, it said the default password changed. Does anyone know what the new login and default password is for Kali 2020.1?
Kali.
Kali. Cool. All right, so we're gonna type it. Kali. It's probably a really small font, but I'll make it bigger in a second. All right, so boom, there's my desktop, and there's my terminal. By default, the terminal won't come up. That was just me because I was already in it. So here's the desktop, and I'm going to give you a little bit of my philosophy on Linux. Linux is not this graphical GUI, GUI, graphical user interface. It's not this stuff. It's not these file system buttons and dragging and dropping stuff around. Those are toys. Those do nothing for you. All this stuff, changing your desktop background, that is not Linux at all. Zero. Click the terminal, maximize it. That's Linux. That is everything. And you want to be really good at the terminal. You want to master it. You want to master all the details of the terminal. I've been using it for a long time. I have my way of doing things, and there's guys who've been doing this longer than me, and they have even more expert ways. But I'm going to show you how I explored Linux and how I continue to explore Linux, and it's always with the command line, guaranteed. Another reason why you want to be really good at the command line is at your job, you might have 50 EC2 instances out on the Amazon Web Services running Linux. Well, none of those are running graphics. They're all secure shell, secure shell, SSH. Secure shell is a way to connect to another machine and get yet another prompt. Okay, so and it's encrypted. And secure shell is the greatest thing in the world. I could do 2 hours on it alone. It's awesome. Maybe I will. Anyway, you have to be able to connect to these other machines at the terminal and do your job. And you're not going to get a clicky, gooey graphical interface. It's also a waste of processing power. Like, I came up, my first computer was an 8088. It ran at 4.77 megahertz. I had 640K of RAM. Every process had to have a reason. And I don't need the known graphical user interface running on a server 2,000 miles away. It does me no good. I want all that processing power for whatever task I'm needed. So all that stuff gets shut off. And if you install Ubuntu server on like Amazon or even your desktop or whatever, you're not going to get graphics. It's not there. They don't even install it. You don't get X Windows, which is what we're kind of sitting in here now. Now, I will say there are benefits to having X Windows up and running. You can have tabs of terminals, which is nice. It's cool to have a couple of tabs like that, and or when you're troubleshooting, you want to have like let's see, let's go new window. Yeah, you want to have like a couple of windows, so you'll do something over here, and then you want to see the effect over here, like a log or something like that. So yeah, there are benefits to that, but I can show you and I can guarantee you that there are just as easy ways to get all that stuff the exact same way without needing graphics, guaranteed, all day long. So don't worry about not having something to click on in your mouse and all that. Get really good at the command line, get very, very comfortable with it. So I'm about to get you comfortable with it right now. So let's get rid of these. Okay. Linux is a multi-user, multi-processing operating system. What that means is Linux can serve more than one person at the same time, and each one of those people, or maybe it's a machine account, but each one of those individual accounts can do more than one thing at the same time as well. What that means is they could, an individual could run a server. He could have a shell script running. He could have a command line prompt like this running. He'd have 10 of them, right? And then the next user over there on the same server can be doing the exact same thing, or a bunch of weird other stuff too. So the power of Unix, which Linux is derived from, was purely for multi-user use. And back in the day of Windows 1, I ran it. There was no such thing. It was one user. You had like this fake multitasking looking thing where you could have like these tiled windows that didn't do anything, and the processor basically just switched between them all really fast. And it was just kind of a fake system. And it wasn't until I think like Windows NT did they start getting into multi-user, multi-processing, and Unix had already had that for 30 plus years. So we are going to be using commands and looking at stuff that is older than probably a lot of the people on this stream, and nothing has changed. And the cool thing about it is these things have been vetted so long, and there's so much history behind these commands and whatnot, that there's an infinite number of Google searches you could do to get you any information you need. But going back to my principle number one, I'm going to teach you how to explore the operating system. And that is the key right there, is to understand how the OS works and how to walk around it. So commands, there's a billion of them. If I hit A and then tab fast, it's going to say 167 possibilities. If I say yes, it's going to list everything that starts with A. And if I hit B and I do tab, it's going to list out everything that starts with B. And these are all commands. You don't need to know them all, but this is how you explore. There's C. You can go through all of these. I used to go like, there's F. I would tab, and I'd look at it and go, what the heck is flock? I have no idea. What's FLS? Not a clue. Even right now, I have no idea what FLS is. Not a clue. And if I wanted to figure out what FLS is, guess what? I just run it. It's literally that easy. You're not going to break your system. You're not going to wipe it out. And if you do, reinstall it. It doesn't matter. You're not going to hurt anything. Let's scroll up a little bit. Can we scroll up? Yeah. Missing file name. That doesn't give us any help. So whoever programmed this is really annoying. And image offset, blah, 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 blah. Looks like it does something with images. I don't know. I have no idea. But Linux comes with manuals. And there's a lot of ways to look up what these commands do. And the easiest way is just type man, short for manual. The command is FLS, right? Okay, I hit enter. List the file and directory names on a disk image. Oh, that's kind of cool. All right, that's neat. So disk images are images of like entire hard drives. This might be really good for like those in the forensics world who need to dig through images of like hacked computers and so forth. So this is pretty cool. I might have to look at this later. That's pretty neat. Cool. So I just learned something. I've never heard of FLS, and now I've learned something. Now you've learned something, and now you know how to explore, right? Let's look at V. Tab. All right. Vacuum DB. No idea. VI. Definitely know what that is. VMstat. Definitely use that one. VMstat gives you status of your system. I can go through how all that works, but it's really it's just for fun. I think if you do like a 1, yeah, it updates every second. That's pretty cool. Free memory, your swap file. We don't use swaps anymore. Idle, wait, states, and so forth in CPU. Heck yeah, cool stuff. And you can, and how do you look up how VMstat works? Use man. Boom, there it is. Report virtual memory statistics. And you'll just step through it. You just read it. These things are not complex. They're not hard. Let's X, tab. Hit yes. Okay. Bunch of weird stuff there. Xkill sounds cool. Xkill. Some of these commands can do dash dash help. And I recommend doing that before you fire it, because xkill sounds like it could do something bad. Let's see here, unrecognized command, that's okay. It didn't like help, but it still kicked out the help anyway. So that's kind of a weird one. So let's do man xkill. I know xkill does, it gives you this cool little death's head, and you can shut down GUI processes, really cool. Kill a resources, that's pretty neat. All right, let's give it a try. So if I minimize this, let's go ahead and do a GUI thing just for fun. Let's see, do we have a calculator in here? We always mess with calculators. Big calc, I don't know what that is. Oh, that's something. No biggie. Xkill, and look at the little death head I have here, and I click it and it dies. That's simple. Try that in Windows. It won't work because Windows can't do that. Although I think Windows subsystem for Linux might have that, but who knows? Within Linux, everything is either a file or a process. And that'll make sense here in a minute, but let's look at the processes. PS, I am running bash. Bash is this terminal that you're looking at right now. It even says bash down at the bottom. PS is for processes. If you don't know how PS works, it's man PS. Report a snapshot of current processes. Processes are really important because you want to manage your processes. You want to shut them down. You want to start them up and see what's going on with them. Sometimes those processes are zombied and they give you headaches, and they're stuck and you're just being annoying. And remember that xkill command? You can also do the kill command. And how do we do that? We type the horrible sentence man kill. Send a signal to a process, and depending on the signal we send, we can kill it. Kill-9 is the one they tend to use, so let's try it. And if you have any questions at all, please just jump up. And we will just, we'll just do that again. All right, so if I do PS, we should see, oh, it just spawned another bash process. Let's do, let's see, Hydra should be in here. Yeah, Hydra GTK. Okay, so we have Hydra running. So if I do PS AUX, there's Hydra. Hydra's right there. And I'll explain what I just did. Okay, so when you run PS, you get a PID, process ID, and not all your processes will show by default. It's just your forward processes. So if you do PSA, you get a little bit more. If you do PSAU, you get a little bit more. If you do PSAUX, you get a heck of a lot more. And that's all via the man page. And that is purely by playing with Linux for years and years and years. So now from all times, I always do PSAUX. And that's just kind of a hint. Also, I'll give you a little side thing real quick. If you're doing forensics about 15 years ago, and you're looking at a history file and you see someone do PSEF, you know that they are a East Coast hacker because they're using AT&T Unix. If they're doing PSAUX, they're a West Coast hacker. They're FreeBSD or BSD based because the PS commands are different. So if you're looking at your logs, that used to give you an indication. Nowadays, everyone comes from everywhere, so it doesn't really matter. Notice it doesn't matter the order, AXU, UAX, whatever, XAU, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Okay. Anyway, we want to kill a process, right? Kill-9, just like the manual page said, the PID is 15550. Whoops. -9 15550, and look. 0. Boom, it's gone. Try it again, in case you missed it. Hydra. And I'm only picking on Hydra because it's a graphical thing, but it doesn't have to be graphical stuff. It could be any process that's running. So now, look, the prior process was 1550. What's the process number now? 1565. It changes. They don't tend to repeat process numbers. They keep incrementing. Kill-9, 1565. Boom, gone. So if that X Hydra was being a pain and it wasn't doing its job and it just wasn't shutting down and it just wasn't doing anything, that's how I'd get rid of it. I would just do a kill-9 and it goes away. And you'll hear the term kill-9 a lot. Just kill-9. It's there's vernacular with it. And you'll see PSAUX constantly. Like I'm always doing PSAUX. I'm trying to look for what's going on in my system. I'm just up arrowing, hitting enter. And look at that PSAUX PID just keeps incrementing because every time I run it is a new process ID over and over and over. There's my TMUX process. If I killed that right now, my bash, this bash thing that we're in right now would die. That would be not fun. It'd be funny, but it would be fun. If you're, I'll give you a little hint here. If you're space constrained, if you notice on the right-hand side, it actually chopped the words, right? If you add W, it'll word wrap it around. So we can try and scroll up and down a little bit. There we go. Yeah. So these are all the processes on the system. So I'll tell you a couple things about processes. The very first process, right up here, is your init process, and the init process is essentially the kernel. And what is the kernel? The kernel is Linux. Everything else, all these stupid binaries we're running, all these little processes, that's not Linux. That's software people wrote. The kernel is the brain. The kernel manages your CPU. It manages tasks. It manages the memory. It manages everything. It has the device drivers loaded in it. It does everything. Everything outside the kernel is not Linux. It's just software. It's just toys. It's just icing on the cake. All right. You'll see these on the right-hand side, these under the command, these processes that are started by root that have brackets on them. The brackets are kernel processes, okay? You can't kill those. Those are all inside the kernel. That's what's going on inside the kernel. And there's all sorts of weird things going on. Half the time I have no idea what they are. But it'd be a good idea to Google them. There's all the VBox processes for VirtualBox, more VBox stuff. There's all sorts of things going on. GPG agent, XF desktop. A lot of these things you don't want to mess with because it'll break. But I highly recommend you get a sacrificial Kali Linux box and randomly kill a process, see what it does. And Netflix has a thing called Chaos Monkey, and it does that. It actually SSHs into boxes all over their network, processed by random, and kills it. And if that box does not recover, the guy who was developing on it or developed on it, you know, they're going to come to him and say, hey, you did not make your software resilient to random crashes. So they are very good at Netflix for having systems and operating systems and software that will self-repair. And I highly recommend you kind of think in that term. These processes aren't guaranteed to come up or be up, right? They're not guaranteed to run. They're not guaranteed to run for as long as you want. They could die at any time, or you could kill it, or a hacker could come and kill it. And you have to kind of know what it looks like when something crashes. So PSAUX, like a nervous twitch, bang, what's going on my box? Okay. So I mentioned that everything is either a process or a file, and to list files, it's ls. All right. There's my little directories. Now, how do I know they're directories? In this case, it's because they're colored blue, but that's not fair. When you use a SSH on a far-away terminal, you may not get color or anything like that. So we don't want to use color, or if you're just color blind, like a good friend of mine is, he can't see that. So you want maximum information at all times. All right. So ls dash, or some people say tac, long all la. And that shows you everything about that file or directory. So I'm going to look at the very top line, bash rc original. Okay. Dot files are hidden files. if you noticed, it did not show up. They are just hidden files, and they do that because they're typically they have configurations and random things that you just don't want to be messing with. So they put a dot in front, and that keeps most tools from seeing them, especially graphical user interfaces from seeing them. That's all it's for. And you can go into those directories and what or dot files and edit stuff. I do all the time. It's not the end of the world or damaging. They're just there to remind you this is a little bit more important than your cat picture you just downloaded. Okay. So starting from the left to the right. So you see where my cursor is right here on the left. So there's a dash, RW dash, R dash dash, R dash dash. These are type and permission. So the first column where the D is, if it's a dash, it's most likely, it's typically a file. It could be something else, but generally it just means it's a file. And a file is just whatever. It's just, a Word document, configuration file, cat picture. It doesn't matter. It's just a file. RWX, RWX, RWX. All right. So these control permissions: read, write, execute. The first three are for the owner of the file. In this case, Callie. The next three are for the group that Callie is in. And in this case, it's also Callie. And the third set of RWX is for the rest of the world. The rest of the world can read my .bashrc.original. My group can read my .bashrc.original. I can read and write to my .bashrc.original. Let's go to documents. It's a D for directory. I can read, I can write, I can execute anything associated inside documents. My group can read and execute. Anyone else in the world can read and execute. That kind of bothers me. I don't like that. I don't want anyone external to me going in, being able to read whatever document I have. So let's change it. So if you don't know the command for how do I change the permissions, you just Google it, okay? Just fire up Google, literally type in Linux spacebar, how do I change file permissions? If you ask it like that, you're gonna get a billion responses. But I'm gonna show you here. And how most of these change commands start with CH. CH, and remember, if I hit tab twice, it'll show everything that starts with CH. Tab, tab. Chackle, chag, chardet, chat, chatter, CPU, chip forensic, blah, 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 blah. Change mode, right there in the middle. That's the one we're after. Don't know how to use it? Remember, tac, tac, help, boom. It's gonna explain it to you. If you really don't know how to use it, man chmod. Whoops, chmod, right there. And it's gonna step you through it. And it's gonna look really ugly the first couple times you go through. But look, we're talking about read, right? Write, write, and execute. RWX, it's just 3 bits. Okay. And if you ever need help, ask Google. If that doesn't figure out, just ask me. So we want documents, and we want to get rid of the world having read access to the documents. So we chmod. All right. And the world is labeled as W. I want to minus away read access. But we also want to tell it what object we want to change, right? So you notice I hit enter without typing in what I needed. Nothing happened. You're not going to work. It's not going to break anything. Go ahead and make these mistakes. You want to make every command mistake so you see these errors and not freak out and worry about it. After a while, you're going to be fluent enough in Linux that these errors go away and you'll be faced with more complex errors. And those more complex errors will be less scary because you've gone through all the easy errors in the first place. Oh, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? Anyone know why? Did I type it right or did I type it wrong? Anyone with Linux background? Tell me what happened. Anyone? 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 All right, let's read. Shimon.
Didn't you put the slash on the wrong side?
Did I put the slash on the wrong side? Let's try it.
Documents.
That's not going to work. Why did that not work? No. Let's talk about why did that not work. Let's ask. Let's check. Let's figure that part out real quick. So in the file system, slash is the root of the file system, like the root of a tree. Okay. So technically, you just said from the root of Linux, documents. But I'm going to jump ahead real quick. If I look at the root of Linux, that's what's at the root of Linux. But I am right here. I'm in home Kali. So I have to reference my documents right here. Exactly. So it's home Kali. So let's do LSLA. So up arrow is the cheater way in. So when I first did this and it errored, it didn't like it. Let's do this. Boom. Okay. Well, maybe we cannot do that for a directory. It's very possible. All right. So there's another way to change it. Change mod. Okay. I'll explain this here in a little bit. Let's do that. Oops. Oh, that worked. So I had my parameters wrong. W-R. Okay. I had the parameters wrong. And that's okay. We want to practice all the weird ways to do it. Chmod has two different ways to do this: the W's and the worlds and the groups, and the owners, minus and plus, read, write, execute. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. It just depends, right? You have to practice and not worry about the errors. There is more than one way to do this exact same thing. So now, let's do an LSLA on just documents itself. Okay, ooh, let's do that. Oh, it freaked it out and it killed it. Completely wiped it out. And that's awesome. To me, that's kind of fun. So I took away execute on my part. So let's put it all back. So it was originally, let's scroll up. What was it originally? It was 4, 2, 1. 4 plus 2 plus 1 is 7. 4 plus 1 is 5. 5, so 7, 5, 5. Okay, we're back to normal again. I want everyone to never be afraid of making massive, horrible mistakes to a file system or an operating system. I have done horrible things to machines and destroyed them and had to rebuild them really fast. And guess what? Nothing happened. I want you to explore every command and get in there and break stuff, make it do things that it wasn't supposed to do. To me, that's really interesting. Why changing for the permissions to read, write, and no killed it completely. And as you know, I'm on red team. So in my mind, I'm like, oh man, if I get into someone's machine and I want to mess with them bad, I would set their documents as 660. And look, they would lose access and they wouldn't know what was going on. They wouldn't know anything at all. So it's a little bit mischievous, but at the same time, what if they do that to you, right? Now you know, it's like, oh man, I need to look at the permissions real quick and go, okay, well, maybe something's wrong, all right? The math on that is 4, 2, 1. I'm sorry, yeah, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1. Read, write, execute, read, write, execute, read, write, execute. So read is 4, write is 2, execute is 1. And you just add them. If you just want read and write, that's 6. If you just want read and execute, that's 5. If you just want execute, that's just 1. If you want write and execute, which is a weird one, you usually don't have that, is 3. That's all it is. That's how simple it is. So let's do this on just a file. We'll make a file. First, we'll make a directory. mkdir, make directory. We'll call it test. Okay. Do we see it? There's test right there. Change directory, cd, test. Now we're in our own directory. LSLA. LSLA is our nervous twitch, right? We always use LSLA to look around. There's nothing in there. If I want to make a file, there's a million ways to do it. We'll just do touch. Touch, test file. LSLA, nervous twitch. There it is. Test file. It has read, write. I gave it rewrite automatically by default. The rest of my group can read it. The rest of the world can read it. We don't want read for the rest of the world. So chmod, we're going to leave everything else alone. So the so someone tell me what read write is in the number scheme. What's RW?
It's just 300, right?
No. So 421, 421, 421, R equals 3, right, equals 2, execute equals 1. I'm going to hit that enter there. That's fine, no big deal. And what is R and W? What is R plus W?
I mean, it's 5, but
5, right? So we want.
I'm not comprehending. It's 421, 421, and then R3, W is 2, X is 1.
Sure. Okay, all right. So when we look at each column, so R's are given the. I'm sorry, it's 421. My fault. Not 321. 421. All right. So each column is given a value. So the first R right here, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1. So in the first column, that's a 4 plus a 2, right? 4 plus 2.
I got you.
Yeah.
The typo is what was kind of fucking me up there.
Oh, sorry. I typoed. Yeah. All right. So the first one is 6. What's R? R is 4. So the next one is 4. And we want nothing for the next guy. And there it is, RWR, and a bunch of blanks. So if I had another user on here that somehow was in my little test directory poking around, he would not have the ability to read, write, or execute test file at all. And these permissions are vitally important, especially on the Unix system, even on Windows. And you see this all the time. You see this all the time. Something's not working, they chmod at 777. Look at what it did. RWX, it lit it up like a Christmas tree. RWX. Everyone in the world, their grandmother, their uncle down the street, the hacker kid down the street, all have access to this thing. And that's not what you want. You always want to scope down your privileges to least privilege. The kid down the street does not need access to your test file, and constantly have that in your mind. Who has access? Who should have access? And separate those two groups. And I don't know, that chmod 777 creeps me out. So we'll do this. Boom. There we go. That feels good for me. And even my group doesn't even need to see what's going on. Other people in my group, maybe I don't trust them. There we go. And you'll see in Linux, in like really important stuff, like I'll show you right now, you'll even have a tighter permission than that. So let's do this. I mentioned SSH. SSH is the secure shell. SSH allows you to encrypted connect to other machines and poke around on their command line. It is vital to learn SSH. You cannot survive without learning SSH, even for Windows. You must learn SSH and SCP. You have to. There is no going around that. You will use it guaranteed. And SSH requires keys because it's encryption. And Normally, there's a .ssh directory in here, but this is a brand new install. So as a rule, on new boxes that you build, always regenerate SSH keys, because some boxes, especially Kali, would come with default SSH keys installed. And I think root might have some. So sudo super user do switch user dash, and that makes me boss. I'm now root, as you can tell by my prompt. And if I go to root's home directory, no, they don't have it. Okay. Thankfully, they took that out. Okay. At one time, there was a SSH directory in there and it had keys in it, and everyone had the same key. So anyway, we want to SSH, tab, and look what options we're given. Keygen, that sounds good. And look, you can't break stuff doing keygen. It's going to tell you, where do you want to save it? In my .ssh directory, my identification is going to be RSA, Rivas, Shamir, Adelman. They're cryptographers, they know what they're doing, trust them. If I hit enter, it'll make that file. If that file is already there, it might smash it. So if you have keys for other things, you don't want to do that. You want to give it a new name. This is a chance for typing in a new file name, but we'll just hit enter. Okay. And usually SSH, you don't give it a passphrase. If you're in an ultra secure environment, you do, but here you don't. So yeah, just hit enter, and look, it created the fingerprint and the keys. And look, it's going to make a directory .ssh. We're going to cd into it. LSLA, nervous twitch. All right. So you're going to have IDRSA.public. This is the file that you can give away to your buddies. That is fair game to install on other servers, to install to key sharing mechanisms online, to share from one box to another and all that. But thou shalt never dump your IDRSA. This file will never move anywhere in the world other than right here. Now, maybe if you have to clone a box and you want to move your keys over, that's fine. Make sure you do it securely, not over your Wi-Fi, because this file holds the keys of the kingdom. And it looks just like this. It looks just like that one. You can give away the public key. That is entirely acceptable. That is not a problem. You just never give away your private key. And I have had instances where I say, hey man, give me your public key so I can install it in my server, and then your machine will use the private key, because these two are a pair. It will use the private key to encrypt and then log into that machine, no problem. And I've had people give me the private key instead of the public key. And you look at it and you're like, oh no, okay, well, I'm gonna delete this and it's up to you to redo this. They're gonna have to redo that, and I'm gonna have to hit enter, and I'm gonna just blot over that one again. Look, it already exists. So I want to write, sure, why not? Because I exposed my public key or private key, right? Enter, and it's gonna do it again, and it's gonna be different this time. So please, IDRSA, you keep to yourself. You don't give to anyone, even if they beg you for it. They're social engineering you. IDRSA.pub, not a problem. You can cut that out. I don't care if it's on worldwide live stream. Anyone in the world can have that. I don't care. That is not a problem. Okay. So technically we have 5 minutes left, but I have the stream for an hour and a half. And I've kind of gone in all sorts of weird little directions. Are there any questions from the people in the world? And I can bend the tutorial in that direction. And if there's no questions, I'll just keep plugging along. Any? Let's see. Looks like there's lots of chat. Installs and updates. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just now seeing the chat. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. All right, installs and updates. Oh yeah. Okay. So there are a couple flavors of Linux out there. There's Debian, which is what we're running right now. There is Red Hat based. Okay. There's Slackware, which may not even really be around much anymore. There's Arch based, which is Arch. That's funny. It was actually a command. Arch and Gentoo are brothers to each other. There's a few other little smaller ones like Puppy. Puppy Linux has its own little package format. So we use Debian. So Control L. We use Debian. All right. And Debian uses deb files. All right. When you install something like Firefox or Apache web server or whatever, they need a ton of stuff to back them up. Apache needs encryption, Apache needs network access, Apache needs PHP and all these other little languages to run in the background and whatnot for WSGL web services and whatnot. And those are called dependencies. And a good package manager will figure out everything extra that that application needs, like Apache. So the package manager installs and removes and updates packages on the system itself. So you need super user access. So I'm going to cheat and do super user su or sudo into it like that. You should not. You really should do it from here and just type your commands from here, because what happens is, this is what happens. You're sitting here, you're doing all your work, everything's great, and then you RM, which is remove, and you remove something important and you just blew it away because your root and the system will not ask you if you're sure. So we'll just touch a test file, test, right? Touch test. If I RM test, it just goes away. And imagine if you just wiped out an entire directory of important files. And to prove it, it's gone. It's not there. So you only go in the root when you need to. It's kind of a hammer, right? And then exit and get back out as fast as possible, or just use sudo commands. But we'll just sudo root just for now. We'll live on the edge. Okay, so Control L to clear my screen. All right. On Debian-based systems only, it's apt update. Hopefully this is quick. APT stands for aptitude, and it's going to ask you, it's going to tell you apt list upgradable, and you can select that, middle click it, and it didn't work because I'm in a virtual machine. List upgradable. Hit enter and it'll show you CLang, exploit DB, Kali, desktop, blah 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 blah, a bunch of little libraries and stuff. And if you look at that, I always recommend looking at that and going, yeah, let's make sure that that doesn't break anything. And at this point, this is your chance to back up files. This is a chance to move things off the machine. I've had upgrades break and blow things away. So you always look at it first. That's why they give you the apt list upgradable. They even give you the command. You don't have to memorize it. And just think about it and go, okay, is this really gonna damage something? Especially if you're a developer and you need a specific version of a library and they just updated your lib omp 8 from 7 to 8. I don't know, maybe it'll break something. So you wanna be aware of that. But we'll just go with it. Apt upgrade will take those lists of dependent files and download them. And look, it says the following packages were automatically installed, no longer required. So it's going to yank out a bunch of those. Use apt auto remove to remove them. So we'll run that. Following packages have been kept back, blah, 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 blah. Following packages will be upgraded. Okay. We'll hit yes. So exploit DB is being updated. So it was smart enough not to do too much stupid stuff. And now it's updating exploit DB. And you can do entire operating system updates this way. And it's really just those 3 commands: apt get or apt update, and you want to do that first, then apt list -- upgradable, and then apt upgrade to upgrade. And you can always type history to see what you've typed. Apt update, apt list upgradable, app upgrade. Literally, that's all there is to it. So there's another command called dpackage. Okay, dpackage is pretty awesome, and I use it 2 ways. dpkg-l to list everything on my system. That's everything. Like 300 pages, 400 or 500 lines of junk, right? Look at all that stuff. All that stuff is installed in this machine. 2,200 lines. There's like 2,200 packages, right? So I hit Q to get out of that. So that was dpackage-l. And if I want to look inside a package, big L, and let's just randomly pick one. We'll pick zip. I know it's a command. There it is. It says it installed those files under user bin zip, all right, zip cloak, zip note, zip split, share, zip changes, that's where it is. And we could look in there. So, all right, did it really do that? cd user bin. Actually, let's go to user share. It's probably a little bit easier. Doc, yeah. And look, I'm using tab to complete. I don't like typing, and it's easier if the computer makes the mistakes for me. And there it is. There's the stuff. And if you don't know where you're at, you can always type PWD. So I'll give you a funny hint. I was in the military, and we had like 3 rules. The first rule was always know where you're at, and the second rule is always know where you're going, and the third rule is if you don't know any of those, at least try and look cool, right? so hopefully we never get to rule 3. In Linux, it's the same way. Know where you're at and know where you're going. Right now, I'm at print working directory. I am at user share doc zip. And when I list stuff, I'm in user share doc zip. My prompt shows it, but you're not guaranteed a prompt. If you do a penetration attack, you exploit a remote machine and you get a shell back, it may not have all these cool little parts and pieces. It may not have the cool little user share doc part of your prompt. You're going to have to upgrade your prompt using Python or whatever, but you may not have that ability. You may be on a BusyBox machine or something. So you have to be aware of where you're at. So use your tools. PWD, where are you at? If I do cd space ... I'll move backwards 1. And that's where I'm at. cd space ... I'll move back a little more. Now I still know where I'm at. User share ... That's where I'm at. cd ... Now I'm at the root. All right. Does that kind of make sense with everyone? So Justin mentioned installs and updates. That is literally it on a Debian box. If you're running Red Hat or Fedora or one of the other clones, you're going to use DNF or you're going to use Yum. Either one. I think DNF is the newer, better, more funner one, and it does a little bit better dependency tracking. Wanted to show you one thing. You see this VM-Linux boot/VM-Linux. So that's a link, and it says L on the left, and it's just a link right there, L on the left. If I cd into the boot directory and I look around, remember when I said the kernel was Linux? That's the kernel right here. It's compressed. That's him. And looks like I got 3 of them in there. Depending on how you're booted, it'll probably use the newest one, and it should use the newest one, which would be 5.4. If you want to know what the kernel is thinking, you can type DMESG, and I highly recommend getting used to this command because it will tell you everything that's going on in the brain of that kernel. I'm constantly, when I'm troubleshooting something kind of deep in Linux, I'm constantly demessage. Constantly demessage, because you're going to get all the kernel messages, you're going to get all the errors, you're going to get all the broken things that are happening, they're going to be dumped out right here. So with Linux, I said everything was a file or of some sort, and I'll show you a directory that kind of exemplifies that. It's called the dev directory. So if I look here, dev directory, it's right here, device, okay? cd dev. Whoop, cd dev, change directory dev. And I do an LSLA or just an LS. You're going to see these really funky files. This is on every Linux box, all right? These are character devices, and they're treated like files, and they even look like files. And these are connected and built by the kernel to other things. So your sound, your mouse, just whatever else on the system gets routed through here. And while they look like files, you can actually treat them like files. You can cat the output of a TTY, you can cat the output of this stuff. And these things are really, really important for managing your Linux machine, because you can control and do some really weird things, especially in the security industry. That was like a really quick, like overly fast Linux tutorial and whatnot. I know I didn't even cover like a billionth of a percent, but I just want to give everyone just kind of a really quick tour. I got to wrap up the stream here now, but if there's any leftover questions, just message me. That's my Twitter right there, reachback1111. That's my Twitter. You can shoot me messages there if you don't know me any other place. But I really appreciate everyone jumping online. And I saw a lot of people jump off because I probably ramble as I normally do. But thanks for coming out. And we will do more of these if you guys want, and just shoot me what you'd like me to cover, and I'll just, as usual, unscripted and just do what I can.
I'm disappointed. This is twice now. You promised swearing. There was no swearing.
Oh, damn it. Sorry.